terms of how they want to move amongst us and how they seem to be so keen to tell us they're extraterrestrials. If they're not, that might be the one thing they'd want to tell us. It's, oh yeah, we're aliens and we're here to help. But maybe they're just trying to protect their own turf because they're forced to live amongst these pretty warlike, creatures that have infested and took over their ancient world. I think I'd be pretty angry if, I lived in a nice planet and it suddenly got infested by us. So.
Well, I mean, especially if they went down there and they said, okay, in 50,000 years we can go back up to the surface, and they come up and this is what they find. Kind of scary.
They see reality TV and war. So.
Yeah. What about the government? I mean, other than them investigating what's going on, or what was going on, do you think they had any kind of role in what these people were experiencing? Some people say, oh, it's mind control and, it's a government agenda, blah, blah, blah.
Well, again, I mean, I've got a chapter on that in the book. I don't think this can account for certainly all the cases, and I actually don't think it accounts for the majority of cases. But I think in some respects there is good evidence to say that the government or elements of the intelligence community or the military have staged UFO incidents. And I think one of the people I interviewed for the book was a guy named Rich Reynolds. And Rich had an intriguing theory based on some of his investigations. He felt that government agencies had staged UFO incidents not to deceive people, but because they wanted to study the witnesses and how they reacted to the phenomenon, because then that would give them an idea of how we would really react if there was a genuine alien invasion, and it was a sinister invasion. So in other words, you set a few people up in a UFO experience, and then you watch them to see how they react and respond. Do they fall down on their knees, complete nervous breakdown? Do they kind of embrace the experience and, it invigorates them? Or are they is their mind just totally blown? And I think, that's a good argument. If you want to know how people are going to react to UFOs, let them see a UFO, even if it's a staged UFO. So I think that comes into play with some of these cases. And I certainly don't think it's happening on a massive scale where, we can blame the government for every UFO event. But, maybe 7 or 8 significant UFO events over the years that have been perceived as extraterrestrial, maybe, some sort of government psychological warfare thing to test our responses.
And I think at this point in time, people are so acclimated to the potentiality that UFOs exist that if one landed in their front yard short of getting abducted and, having tests done on them and having it be a negative experience, they would be like, ooh, they'd be like taking pictures, putting it on Facebook and thinking it's a great old time.
Oh, yeah. Times have definitely changed in that respect. UFOs are now a part of our culture. It's not just a weird mystery being investigated by a few hundred people. Everybody knows what UFO means or what flying saucer means. And everybody, little kids, you ask them to draw an alien, they draw that big head and the black eyes because it's become such a part of our popular culture that, the image of the alien, everybody knows it.
Yeah. Nick, we are almost out of time. So if somebody wants to get a copy of your book, where can they go find it?
All good book-selling outlets, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Borders, all the good places, and probably a few bad ones as well. So.
I'm going to get, we talked about the content in a kind of generic kind of way, but people that are listening, it's like the stories are great. There's even ones that have to do with sex. And what they say, sex sells. Woohoo!
Yeah. Unfortunately, I've never had the aliens land in that sort of situation, but I guess I can always hope. So.
No comment. No comment.
I don't think my wife would be too happy about that.
Yeah, I don't think she'd be too happy about that either. I just think, well, if they landed in Texas, we're so well armed here. I don't know that they could really do a whole lot.
No, they get shot probably.
Yeah, probably. Okay, so let me just give some information to the people listening. Contactees, A History of Human-Alien Interaction. Your website is nickredfern.com. Any parting words for the listeners?
Well, just, I mean, although the contactee movement is a strange one, I would urge people to learn about it because it is, or it was, a very significant period within the whole UFO context for about 10 years. And I think it's a shame that it's been forgotten. It was a significant movement, and there's some very intriguing stories surfaced in that period. It's a shame that they've been sidelined and in many respects sort of lost to the fog of time, if you like.
Yeah, I'll agree, because I never heard of any of these people at all.
No, it's a shame, You're quite right that many people just say who, when you mention them. So.
But I'm sure some people say, oh, yeah, but they're all in California, and, they're all those fruitcakes down there.
Yeah, they do say that. People do say that.
Well, maybe that's where they all came from. I don't know, or where that thought came from.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Nick, I so want to have you come back on the show, and maybe with Ken, and we can talk about the new Monsters in Texas book.
All right, that sounds good. Thanks, Rita.
Thanks, Nick. So again, we've been talking to Nick Redfern, his book, Contactees, A History of Human-Alien Interaction. His website is nickredfern.com, and we'll be back after these words from our sponsors.
Just Energy Radio with your host, Dr. Rita Louise, will return right after these messages.